Welcome to today's explainer. Okay, so have you ever sat in a classroom, watched an educator completely command the room, and just wondered, what exactly makes their teaching truly effective? I mean, we've all experienced that kind of magic at some point, right? Maybe it was the teacher who somehow made high school calculus feel like this epic quest, or maybe the one who just knew exactly when you needed a word of encouragement. We absolutely know a phenomenal educator when we see one, but actually pinning down the anatomy of what they're doing, well, that's surprisingly difficult. Are we looking at someone performing a highly rehearsed act? Are they just executing a strict empirical formula? Or is it something else entirely? Today, we're going to unpack this core challenge of defining effective teaching by breaking down the exact characteristics required to do it well. And this brings us to the ultimate question we need to ask ourselves today. Is teaching an art, a science, or a profession? Let's keep this central tension in mind as we go through this explainer together. You see, this isn't just some abstract philosophical debate. It's literally the fundamental framework we're going to use to unpack the characteristics of an educator. By looking at the basic requirements of the job through these three totally different lenses, we can begin to see exactly how complex and, frankly, how fascinating the role of a teacher truly is. Okay, let's dive into this. To answer that question, our source material suggests we first have to establish a baseline. Before we can even start debating the art versus the science, we are looking for the bedrock foundation of effective teaching. We need to find the core ingredients that simply must be present for any real learning to take place in a classroom. So, here are the four explicitly stated requirements drawn directly from the text. Number 1, subject mastery. Number 2, pedagogical skill. Number 3, empathy. And number 4, communication. But take a look at that fifth spot on the list. Our source challenges us to list at least 5 essential characteristics of effective teaching. I'm going to leave that fifth spot totally blank for now, but I want to playfully challenge you. As we walk through these first 4, see if you can figure out what that vital, missing fifth characteristic might be by the time we wrap up this explainer. Any guesses? Hold on to them. Section 1, the science of teaching, structure and method. All right. We're grouping these first requirements into a science bucket because, well, they rely on hard evidence. Let's take subject mastery, for instance. You simply cannot teach what you don't comprehensively understand. It's kind of like trying to bake a really complex pastry without even knowing what flour is. It's measurable, it's factual, and it requires rigorous study. The teacher basically has to be the absolute master of the facts, the formulas, and the historical context of whatever they're standing up there to present. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is our second requirement, pedagogical skill. Think about it like this. If subject mastery is knowing the what, pedagogy is the strict science of the how. It's the whole theoretical framework behind how a human brain actually acquires new information, how a lesson plan is mathematically structured for maximum retention, and how assessments are designed. It is pure systematic science. Section 2, the art of teaching, connection and intuition. But, knowing the mechanics alone doesn't magically make a great teacher. We have to transition over to requirement 3, empathy. Empathy isn't some rigid formula you can just memorize from a textbook. Think back to a time a teacher noticed you were struggling without you even having to raise your hand. You can't scientifically calculate that kind of intuition. It requires a teacher to act as an artist, sensing the emotional and intellectual temperature of their students and just adapting on the fly. And closely tied to that empathy is requirement 4, communication. Communication is this delicate, beautiful art of connecting, that immense subject mastery directly to the student's mind. Because, let's be real, you could literally be the world's leading expert on theoretical physics, but if you sound like the teacher from Charlie Brown, absolutely no one is learning anything. The science gives you the information, but the art is what makes the student actually care about it. It's storytelling, it's finding the perfect analogy, it's using tone, pacing, and your sheer presence to captivate an audience. And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast at the heart of being an educator. On one side, we have teaching as an art, which is entirely fueled by the warmth, human intuition, and creativity of empathy and communication. On the other side, we have teaching as a science, completely driven by the structure, mechanics, and rigorous evidence of pedagogy and subject mastery. It's just such a fascinating dichotomy, isn't it? Section 3, the teaching profession, the ethical boundary. So what happens when we institutionalize this powerful combination of art and science? Well, you get the professional boundary. Being a profession means having firm ethical boundaries that legitimize the entire practice. It's the difference between just being a really charismatic expert and being someone bound by accountability, high standards, and a deep commitment to the student's well-being. It is the professional framework that ensures the science is accurate and the art is applied appropriately, all for the benefit of the student. Section 4. The triad synthesis, bringing it all together. Let's move to and see how this builds. Now we can really see how all these pieces form a cohesive whole. If you look at it, empathy and communication naturally form the art, mastery and pedagogy form the science, and wrapping around them all, holding them together almost like a protective shell, is the profession. To be truly effective, a teacher cannot simply live in just one of these domains. They need the whole shebang. So, the crucial point is, what about that blank fifth bullet from the very beginning? Did you figure it out? Based on how everything overlaps here, the source reveals that the fifth characteristic is the balance. The ultimate requirement is the real-time ability to synthesize the art, the science, and the profession without letting one overpower the others. It's a massive balancing act. We've seen today that the anatomy of an educator relies on a delicate, interwoven network of these basic requirements. But I want to leave you with one final provocative thought based on everything we've covered in this explainer. If effective teaching is simultaneously an art, a science, and a profession, which one matters most? I mean, think back to the absolute best teacher you ever had in your life. Did they impact you because of their rigorous science, their beautiful art, or their unwavering professionalism? Or is the true magic of teaching found somewhere in the space between?